They all looked at each other. James and George started laughing, while worried looks, were shared between Alice, Lydia, and me. And the instant they stopped laughing, we all backed away from one another. "Come on," I said. "You know Artie's sense of humour." Alice said. "Dark as night. Clearly, we all think one of us is capable of it," said George. "Well, what would you like to do next?" asked Alice. "I'm going to find Artie," said James, rising to his feet. "I'm going with you," said Alice. "He's not seen us for years. This is pretty sick, even for a joke." I shared a look with Alice and a nod, silently telling her to be careful. James and Alice fled the room in search of our host. I looked at the other two. "Do we stay here?" I asked, picking up another bottle of water. "What, and let everyone else have all the fun?" "No, let's look around the house," said George. "If we all stick together, we should be fine. If it's one of us, the other two can overpower them." We all agreed and got up. We headed up the stairs and went in the first room off the landing to the right. It was a grand dressing room. There was a mahogany dressing table and 2 sets of doors in the wall, probably leading to built-in wardrobes. I unscrewed the lid of my water as we headed towards the door to look in the next room. I took a swig of water. This was my second bottle, but unlike the first, it wasn't chilled. It tasted foul by comparison. We walked, and as my head began to swim. I looked up at George and Lydia. Their faces looked weird, distorted like a funhouse mirror. And as I spoke, my voice sounded "I do you." I dropped involuntarily to the floor before finishing my sentence. The last thing I hear is a scream as my show ended in the fall of a black curtain. They stood looking at my lifeless body on the floor. "He's dead," George coldly declared, without even touching my body. He looked at the water bottle and sniffed it, raising the bottle up, and he shook it at Lydia. "It was you," he pointed. "Poison is a woman's way," he exclaimed. Lydia's mouth went slack in a "what the hell" reaction, but before she could verbalize a defense, he ran out of the room. It's not really fitting that I should fall victim in a dressing room. I never took much interest in my looks. No, it would be more fitting if I was the body in the library from some vintage detective novel. The only consolation was that this room, at least, was classically period style. Lydia stopped silently, looking at me. No emotion. Nothing at all. She didn't even try to help me. She looked after the already departed George, clearly wrestling with a decision. In a decisive second, she made up her mind, and with a whimper, Lydia went to the window. Looking out at the rainy evening, tears flowing freely down her face as she hugged herself, It was difficult to say whether the tears were real or just good acting. If an act, I'm not sure who they were for, and likewise if they were real. Apparently lost in thought or taken in by the view, he never heard the killer approach from behind. Silent as a shadow and smooth as silk, they were on her, and the knife plunged deep into her spine before she realized she was no longer alone. A raspy breath was the last noise she made as her body went limp. They caught her body, and she was dragged over to the fireplace. Quick rearrangement of logs, and Lydia was no longer visible. What a start to her evening. Tensions much as I'd left years ago. A challenge laid down from our apparent dead host and 2 friends down. It's going to be one of those nights. One of those long nights.